Okay, me and Keith are back for our next step to the road to an Infinity War with Captain America, the first Avenger. Let's talk about the cast first.
Okay. I think pretty much everyone did a really good job. I think one of the major stands out was Tommy Lee Jones, Hugo Weaving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very disappointed that for whatever reason Hugo Weaving doesn't want to reprise his role as Red Skull.
Yeah.
Because I really think he would have been great in the Winter Soldier coming back. So that's unfortunate that he doesn't want to come back, but he definitely gave a great performance in this movie. And Tommy Lee Jones, I mean, he's just spot on in this movie. So good. And everyone else. Chris Evans, Haley Atwell, Sebastian Stan.
Stanley Tucci.
Definitely Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, great job. And, like you were mentioning, Tommy Lee Jones, it was funny in every scene, and it was just amount of serious and funny in every scene. He was just, masterful.
Serum infusion, beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the plot. I really did enjoy this movie. I remember before this movie coming out, I was so worried that they were going to screw up this character. Because I think, he's very unique in the sense that he wears the American flag, but he's not just some gung-ho flag-waving American guy. He's looking out for the little guy. He always does what's right. And I think they really nailed it in this movie. And
that line in the movie when Stanley Tucci asks him, "Do you want to kill Nazis?" and what does he say?
He says, "Is this a test?" And he's like, "Of course it is." And he says, "I don't want to kill Nazis. I just don't like bullies no matter where they're from."
Perfect.
Yeah.
Defines the character.
That was
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely Captain America. I mean, that's what really did it for me when watching that movie, that they did it. And, I still remember the other scene that really stands out to me was when he was walking back to camp with all the soldiers he saved from the Hydra base.
Yeah.
And he instead of coming up and looking for any glory whatsoever, he says, reporting for punishment or whatever.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones is like, won't be necessary.
Yep, he's very humble.
Yep.
Yep, and it's defines the character as well.
And I also think one of the things they did, having the Red Skull in his first movie, a lot of the Marvel movies have been staying away from their arch nemesis in the first movie, but I think Captain America had to do the Red Skull. They're so intertwined that they had to have, the same experiment that made the Red Skull. Really makes Cap also, but it gets, it's done correctly because it's the right guy. Just so much they did right in this movie. I can't. It's probably my favorite movie in Phase 1, outside of the Avengers.
I actually like Iron Man 1 and then Captain America, and of course the Avengers is the best for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we should rate all the MCU movies at the end of this.
I think we should.
Other items of note from this movie, I want to start with kind of the foreshadowing with Bucky, because you see when Captain America saves everyone from the Hydra base, he's being tortured, kind of setting up the whole Winter Soldier. And
awesome, because I wasn't thinking anything about it at the time.
Yep, setting up the Winter Soldier, but then it also sets up Civil War, because basically the Winter Soldier is the centerpiece of Civil War 2, really showing the relationship kind of through the whole trilogy. That's why I think it is my favorite trilogy of the MCU.
You know what else I noticed? They continued a conversation that they had in Captain America in Civil War when they were talking about taking the train back and they spent all his money. The same conversation was like years later. I think that's pretty cool that they can have continuity like that.
Yeah, it was a great job keeping it all together. Another part that early on in the movie when they're at the Stark Expo and you see the android Human Torch, it's a little Easter egg kind of hinting at, I think, two things. One, that Chris Evans played the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies,
which is hilarious.
but then also setting up, not really setting up, but kind of hinting at the Invaders, which during World War II, Cap was with Nomad, Bucky, the Human Torch, Toro, which was like a mini Human Torch. So I thought that was kind of a cool nod because they really didn't have the rights to have the Human Torch in it. So it was a nice little nod showing that android and hinting at a couple different things. I also would have liked, speaking of the Invaders, when that montage scene after Cap saves all the soldiers and he's basically invading the Hydra bases, it would have been cool if they would have been the Invaders with him in that instead of just the Howling Commandos. Still great, don't get me wrong, but just something I thought.
And when he did go to the Hydra base, I think I mentioned right before we started filming was that when the Red Skull saw him, and then he's got all his army out there, and then he sees Captain America, he's like, oh, he's gonna just blow it up. Our Zola's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, we're outmatched. I love that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Shows that he knows what to do, and the Red Skull isn't a minor villain. He knows what's going on. I also one of the things I noticed that when he was being turned into Captain America, he had a scene where his eyes kind of flash open, much like when the Hulk is turning into the Hulk, and I thought that was kind of a nod to both of them kind of being a part of the super soldier experiment. Obviously Captain America's with the best it could, the Hulk a little bit wrong, even though they're both heroes.
Yeah.
I saw that. We also see, Howard working on the Tesseract, which kind of hints back to Iron Man 2, where Tony gets his notes and kind of builds the piece so it helps him with his chest. So, once again, it's just Marvel kind of putting all these pieces in line. And even if they're not, shouting it out to you, they're still there, so you kind of pick up on them. And there's just continuity through everything pretty much.
Yeah, when it blows up, when they try and touch it and it blows up, it's like, write that down.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yes, it was. Speaking of some good lines, some of my favorite lines from the movie I loved in the scene where Tommy Lee Jones doesn't want Cap, he wants that other guy.
Yeah.
He's talking about courage, so he throws a grenade and Steve Rogers jumps on it, and they're kind of looking at him, he goes, he's still skinny.
Yeah. Perfect lines all over that movie. And Joe Johnston, that's his name, Stun, right?
Yep.
He did a fantastic job as a director. I wanted to mention how they introduced Zola into the movie. He was the very first scene, he's in there, and you could see, like his face is in there just like he's in the comics, where he's part of just the stomach part.
Yeah. It was like through the looking glass, and it looked kind of like, yep, that was awesome.
Very creative.
Hinting at the comics again. One of the other things I noticed, the flying car from the first Stark Expo kind of is probably Lola from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
So they're kind of working that in. And we talked about this beforehand too. We get Bucky picking up Captain America's shield in the train scene.
Yeah.
Kind of hinting at, which we also see in the Winter Soldier when he picks it up. Bucky becomes Captain America for a time being.
Yeah.
So if we see Captain America die, maybe in something along the lines of Infinity War, maybe Bucky's going to take up the mantle of Captain America. Then one of the other big questions, and is when the Red Skull is kind of holding the Tesseract, and he gets
sucked up to space.
He basically gets teleported, and as we learn in the Avengers, it's kind of a door, kind of a way to teleport basically. So he's somewhere. He's not dead.
Yeah.
Are we going to see him in Infinity War?
Obviously, it'd have to be recast, but I think it would be fantastic.
I would love to see Hugo Weaving come back, even though I don't think he will. If it is someone else, just to get the Red Skull back, I think would be pretty amazing.
And the way Hugo Weaving handles that role, I don't know if it's just him or obviously the way they told him, but he's just the perfect villain in my eyes, because he's just like so calm and like he's in control and he never loses his cool.
Yep, and his presence is just almost overwhelming in every scene he's in, which is how the Red Skull should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was perfect.
Welcome to the Modern Marvels Pavilion and the world of tomorrow. A greater world.
Also, in the opening scene where the Red Skull comes in and he sees the tree of the world on the wall. That's from Asgard. He calls it Yggdrasil. I can't. Is that the way?
Close enough.
Yeah, good enough.
I think you did good.
And there's a fan theory out there that is Groot, and that's why he's a god and he can come back and regenerate himself. I don't know. I don't know until we find out from the geniuses at Marvel
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, James Gunn has said that the Groot that was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 wasn't the same Groot as that was in Volume 1. Even though it's looks the same and kind of acts mostly the same, it's a different character, which is interesting and could, kind of go towards that fan theory that he's everlasting in a certain sense, but he's also different.
Kind of like Doctor Who, when he can regenerate and he's just somebody else, but it's the same character.
Is Rocket his companion?
No, he has a different companion every time, but they're usually pretty hot.
Very true. And then, we also usually talk about Stan Lee's cameos. He was an army general that was kind of sitting in the crowd when Captain America skipped out on his medal. That was pretty good. All the Stan Lee cameos are good.
Yeah, I thought he'd be told.
Okay, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like what you see. Add some comments. Tell us what you think. And hit the subscribe and hit the little bell so you're notified when we upload new videos. And don't forget, next week we will be back with Road to Infinity War with the Avengers, the end of Phase 1.
Okay, in the after credit scene, probably, I remember when I was in the theater, I was so excited because it was basically a preview for the Avengers, and I think it was was it a full year? I think it was a full year.
Yeah, it was a full year, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it basically had a scene from the Avengers with, Captain America hitting the punching bag, and then kind of a trailer.
Yeah.
I was fired up. I couldn't wait.
Yeah, it was so exciting to see everybody together, and it was the biggest comic book movie ever at the time. So, nice job, guys.
Trouble sleeping?
You here with a mission, sir?
I am.
Trying to get me back in the world?
Trying to save it. You think you're the only hero in the world? Gentlemen, you're up.
I mean, swing.